What's up guys, Pelican here back with another video. So who do I have here with me today?
My name is Hunter Lloyd.
Oh my gosh, is that the Hunter Lloyd? So what'd you do today?
We played new Banlist today in about a week advance or so. And so I'm known as a Fire Warrior player playing all the combo decks. I had to figure out how to play this deck after the new Banlist that just came out with no Smoke Grenade, no Link Cross, no Buster Whelp, and those are the main things. So I had to figure out what we're doing. So the end board that I came up with is ending off on VFD, Savage, Arclight, and Apo for 3.
Jesus.
With a Fogblade behind it. So into the deck profile we go. So first we got to start out with the Warrior support. Obviously you're playing a Warrior deck, so you got to play 3 Connector in the Aqua Dolphin.
Yeah, of course.
The best way to play it. So, obviously I'm a Warrior player. I have to have my match ready cards. We don't play match ready here. So the next thing is that I haven't gotten all my I've been testing Ascension. I've been liking it a lot recently. Playing a lot of the Phantom Knight cards, and by a lot I mean 5, 6. So I only have 2 Torn Scale right now. I definitely want to max this card to 3 because it's probably almost better. It's almost a better starter than Connector. I want to say it's really near there because by itself it actually does the entire combo. Where a Connector you need 1 extra card, which is Connector Extender does everything, but this does everything by itself, and it discards card out of your hand, which is crazy. Okay. These ones by themselves are always good discard fodder for Aqua Dolphin, which is crazy because they each get a Connector. They also get an Extender respectively if you discard them off them. So these cards just in tandem work amazing together. They also just the versatility of this being able to add anything like this or the Shade Brigading, and this being able to Shade Brigading and Fogblade is just unbelievable.
Okay.
Those are the main starters that you really want to open for the extender cards. You also have Red Layer. You still play Red Layer over Drunk Forward just because it's a Fire Warrior, and you have a lot less Fire Warriors in this type of new age format Fire Warrior build, which is a lot harder to play. You obviously play a Firefront Lady because this card's just crazy.
Oh yeah,
Free
definitely.
Extender. This guy, he's really much more important now. I'm actually been thinking about bumping him to 3 because now you only can play 1 Renaud because this card's a lot worse now because you don't have really as many Fire Warrior names in the deck anymore. So that means Oliver becomes a lot more important because you're able to send the equip spells that you draw, and because now you play so many of them. You have to play so many certs. The main card that you now summon off his old is no longer Genba. It's now Armageddon Knight to send the Plague Spreader. But this also has more versatility now because you can also send the Phantom Knights. So it just gives you a lot more versatility of what you can actually do. So if you start as Connector, you can do this to send Phantom Knight cards or just whatever you need to do. And the versatility of this card is a lot better than Genba. Even though you don't have Link Cross anymore, it's okay because you have Apo on Summon 5.
On Summon 5?
Correct. So Apo is Summon 5. Obviously the 1 gear free. This is really just for the grind gamey type matchups. You can play more. I don't like it personally, but this is usually what your Isolde search is because it just sits in your hand. It's really just for those decks that Eldritch or other things they have a bunch of hand traps and you don't really have any comeback play after they hand trap you 2 to 3 times. So you just hold gear freed. They don't really do much on their turn, so you just slam gear freed and he just hyper carries you after that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of discarding in this deck now, so you can actually play a lot of dangers to get you there.
Oh,
I
so
actually play 50 cards in my deck. Yeah, I play 1, 1, and 1. I've been thinking about adding 2 Mothman or a Mothman and a Bigfoot. I haven't decided yet really though. But those cards are just generically good because you actually discard a few times in Aqua Dolphin, Torn Scale, GDR, and all these cards that just happen to do things. So these cards were a really nice fit. And the fact that matters is that they all draw a card if you didn't really open playable. And now all you need is really just tuner plus non to do everything. So they're just really good.
It's too free, especially with Torn Scales.
Indeed, indeed. Because Torn Tails now discards. So for the bricks, you have Plague Spreader. Still fine because you can draw it. You can just summon Aqua Dolphin, discard it. Doesn't matter. This card, you always send Plague in your combo. So in drawing these 2 cards no longer matter anymore. You do it every time without exception. You make Apo and then Fiber. And this is how you make Fiber. So literally drawing that item doesn't matter. Hulk summons from hand anyway. So, oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
You got me. For hand traps, I was playing Ash before this, but then I realized that I didn't like drawing Ash itself as a card. Because you have so many search spells, you have to play Gamma because this card's crazy. If you Gamma by itself, it literally wins you the game, especially on your turn. Just activating Gamma on when you activate the Rundle on their monster if you're going second, or just Gammaing in general is just crazy. Especially when you have Harley the Chalice, Rhoda, all of these cards. It's just unbelievable.
All collector rares I see.
Indeed. You're playing Fire Warrior, so you have to play 3 tactics. It's obvious. Sorry. I'm not gonna
No, you're okay.
yeah, I only own 1 satellite. I'm poor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I only play 2 because you don't want to see 3 because this card breaks. And the search targets got a lot more limited with this. With the only 3 search targets for this now being Durandal, which is technically any card in your deck, any of the extenders rather. It's being Durandal, Oliver, and Renaud. Those are the only 3 search cards you can search with this because I don't play. What is his name? Foolish guy. Yeah, I don't play him. That guy sucks.
Oh yeah.
You never wanted to play him because there's no good foolish targets for him unless you're playing Gear Freight and you open Renaud. So that just card isn't viable anymore. It's just a sad truth.
That's unfortunate.
Indeed. For this specific event, these cards like really just 2 flex spots. I felt that personally I should be playing Twin Twister for this very format because in reality there's a lot of decks that need to rely on back row, and especially after this hit, a lot of combo decks aren't really going to be around because a lot of combo decks really relied on Link Cross as a card. So there's ways to do it now. Like there's different ways to play Dragon Link. There's different ways to play Virtual World, even though Virtual World didn't get touched. But this card's really helpful when they activate the trap when you activate like draw flip or permanents or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just you can just chain to the trap card and they just lose, which is crazy. Beast Dogmatica because you just hit the back row that matters, and you usually have a way to play after they Mechaba you. So that's just like the main thing. So Twin's always a good card, and Twin's a sack card for me. So
Yeah. Plus it's good with the Phantom Knights and the Dangers.
You like discarding, so
Yeah.
2 Droplet. You have cards that do in the graveyard, so I've always liked Droplet as a card. And these are just for the combo boards of like 5 negates, blah blah blah. They don't make Buster Lock anymore, so this card got a lot better. I only play 2 because you're playing 50 cards. You don't really want to see it all the time, but you only really want to see it going second. That's the main reason why I only play 2. I did have 3 in the original, but I had a problem with not drawing Warrior monsters, so that's why I cut it to 2.
And you still see it.
And I still see the card. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You still see both.
Yeah, literally both of them just sitting in my hand. I'm like, oh, sick. Whatever. For the next cards, for the 1-ofs, obviously the 1 Reborn and the 1 Rhoda. Cards crazy, cards crazy part 2. Just more extenders. It's a starter extender or a card that stops plays, which is crazy.
Why don't you play that 3?
I wish.
Yeah, why aren't you playing 3 Rhoda?
Me
What's
too.
wrong?
And so for the last spell cards, they're all equips that you need to play. You need to play 3 DDR because you're playing Power Tool in your deck. I actually play double Power Tool. So it confirms that you have this and you would confirm this. So this card usually is searching Oliver because that means you get to guarantee Savage. Savage or VFD, depending on which one you want to make. VFD is always confirmed in the combo. It just always depends on whatever card you actually want to make. If you want to make... if you value Savage over Charles, I think Savage is better right now. That's why I don't play Charles anymore, because in reality, the best Charles is a pop. Like, I guess he maintains resources, but he doesn't do enough anymore because Smoke Grenades doesn't like do anything.
Yeah.
So those are the 6. I play 2 Living Fossil. The reason why I only play 2 instead of 3 is because like you just need different equips to play now because you need to send 4. So I played the 1 Phoenix Blade, and this is technically like I played it today because I just needed any equip spell. It didn't matter what it did. This is just a flex, to be honest with you. I wanted to play like a Thomas Action Unit or Overdone Burial or whatever because something that did something. But this is the only one I had on me, so I just threw this in my deck. I never drew it. Didn't matter.
Yeah, so it's
but it was a
just
flex.
like an extra equip spell.
It was a complete flex. And people were like, what do you mean you're playing Plunder Patrol cards in your deck? I'm like, yes, definitely my Plunder Patrol deck. Yep, that's me. Yep.
Plunder Blur.
Yep, Plunder Patrol, smile.
That deck's crazy.
The final 2 cards in my main deck are actually the 2 Phantom Trap cards. 1 Fogblade, 1 of this. The reason why you need to play Fogblade is because you need a way to trigger boots. So if you draw this, you just search this instead, so it's an interruption. It's cool. That's basically it for the main deck. It's 50 cards. I'm debating on certain ratios right now, especially with this. Like, that's the main thing I'm debating on. There's a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like. Adding more dangers, more extenders. The cool thing I like about this deck is that it's a lot easier to go into cards in your extra deck now than it used to be. It's not as streamlined. You can skip steps, but you can also like go faster in steps. But obviously, like it's standard. You play double as old. That's pretty standard. First one gets interrupted, you go on the second one next turn, or you just sit, like leave it there. It doesn't matter. I only play 1 Hulk for 1 Auroradon. Nothing else needed. The cool thing that you can now make is you can make Unicorn and Access Code a lot easier with all these Phantom Knight cards and everything because they just put cards on the board. Makes no sense. You can literally make Unicorn, make Access Code, and then still have enough for this behind it. Like, it makes no sense.
Jesus.
Exactly. You can put like 7 monsters on the board before you even feel like doing anything. It makes no sense. I mean, granted, this Axe code's only popping 2 cards, and then later it pops 2 more cards, but still. Obviously, you play Apo because you make Apo for 3 and then make How. Like, you always have enough to make a Link 4 and then something, and then this, which is crazy.
That's way too free.
Exactly. So it makes your deck a lot more versatile.
Literally, Link Cross getting hit really, it doesn't seem like it mattered too much.
It depended on the version. Like, I feel like I could play a lot more, like, outable cards that out cards, and that was the main problem that I was having, is because you needed cards that went through a board, but you also needed to figure out what you were doing. So that's basically what the Banlist did. It just made, like, it made a different game plan. So at the end board, it still includes Arclight, which is really good for us because it means that you still aren't losing the droplet, but it does change a little bit of things. It means you still can't get Eldritch Guide, whatever, it doesn't matter. I play Double Power Tool still because you need to play it so you confirm all the cards in your hand. Make sure you always get them equip spells that you need, like the DDR. You need the DDR. You need that card in your hand if you're doing everything. You require it. You're summoning Plague Spreader at least 3 to 4 times in a turn, every time. Confirmed. So obviously the Savage, and this is where really the deck profile gets like spicy. For the Double Power Tool, you have to play Dracosack. I love this card. I love this card with a passion. I play it. I've always played it in this deck. First as a meme, but now you actually have to play it because you have to put Double Power Tool on top of it, and then you have to use the effect to get the 2 tokens for the Despot 01. And then later, it actually comes up because you need it for Dracosack as a monster for your Fusion Trish. And this is actually how you make VFD. You make VFD by making this plus Shen Shen. So Shen Shen is very, very important for you as not only with this, worst case scenario, you can actually just not make VFD, and in this certain matchups, macro for everything is just crazy. Actually, a lot of decks have a real hard time with this. Also, the cool thing about this is that over Charles making it as a 9 is actually much better for you because it's a lot more recursion. Because this card comes back every single turn, and you're always left with 1 equip spell of your choice to add back, which I always use DDR. So you can always next turn banish like Power Tool or banish, I don't know, this, whatever you want. Summon back Shen Shen and then activate DDR, summon back either Power Tool, this guy, any of your links, doesn't matter. Basically, it activates as like a monster reborn that summons 2 cards. It's crazy. And then the last thing is obviously VFD.
Yeah.
You know, because it's VFD. The main thing I was trying to solve in this deck was trying not to lose the droplet at all. And that was like the way I came up with it, was making negate, like 5 negates, VFD. And that was like the main thing. So this is the usual end board you want to make. Obviously, this is detaching Shen Shen, so next turn you could summon back Shen Shen for the macro. So even if they somehow break this, I don't know how that happens through the 2 negates, no monster effects, and the 3 monster negates here. You have Shen Shen coming back with the DDR to summon back any of your cards. So like that's the main thing. That was always the theory that I had.
Wow, that's insane.
Exactly, and that's any 2 warriors, connector, so 2 warriors plus extender, or normal summon torch scales. That does all of that. For the side deck, it's really just cards that go second. So this, I love this card. He's a hyper carry, especially against like the Dogmatica deck. You summon this against a Mecha, but they have to negate this card. There's just a lot of win cons. 2 Droll. I didn't really set it in today. It was just here because I had like 2 extra spaces. You could have like put some other cards into it. DD Crow. I never saw it today, but the theory is for playing against Dogmatica, because there's a lot of Dogmatica at my local. You can basically just play like whatever you want for these cards, really, because the format's not really defined yet, so no one really knows what to play. So I'm really expecting a lot of virtual world players to keep playing their deck, and that's like the matchup you need to be. The thing I've been like trying to think of is like just different ways. My main thing has been droplet discarding a trap card and a monster, and then they just lose because they don't have anything else. Feather Duster, 3 evenly. There's anti-back row cards, because back row is the thing that hurts this deck the most. The cards that you don't know, it's like the most terrifying part. The last thing is 3 going first cards, because like you lost your hand loop ability. So there's times where like they'll hand trap you 3 times and you need to play lame win game. So you just summon Gear Free, sit on a Fog Blade and like Judgment, and then most decks really can't beat you anyway, because next turn you summon his ult again, just do everything again. That's literally how I won a game today. It was crazy. Like I literally just summoned Gear Free, set Judgment, set Fog Blade, and he just looked at his hand of like nothing after I ripped 1 with Aqua Dolphin. Like, okay, I guess you lost. Cool game. So that's like the main profile. Some changes that I thought about is like I kind of wanted to, in the extra deck, I kind of wanted to put a Fire Warrior in there for Renaud to make it easier. So like the 5 specifically as a follow-up play for next turn to make sure you have Gearfried always. Because he's more of a follow-up play also. So it's Shen, Gearfried, and Reborn. That's like your turn 2.
Okay.
That's really it though.
Yeah, any shoutouts?
I want to shout out to the boys, the PPF, the men.
The men.
The men. Want to shout out the boy Willie, and that's really it, really. He's over there, living the dream. Alright, that's everything.
Alright, take it easy.
Yep.